are doing this again.
Yeah.
Sunday Money with me, Lauren Fox, and Corey LaJoy,
Hey.
and our really great friend Daryl Mott, who doesn't want to hang out with us.
No, he's still in his basement via Skype.
Look at your Kardashian cookies up there, Daryl. That's great.
Wait, right there, right?
No, wrong way. You're
right there.
What are those, Daryl?
Those are stacked
Oreos.
cookies. Those are wafers, and what are the Italian ones, Lauren? Milanos or
Oh yeah, Milanos.
But did you take the time to stack them like that in the jars?
My girlfriend did.
Probably
You want to see
Kayla
one?
did.
Oh my gosh, they're
Can you
stacked
see 'em?
in like a artesian style woven pattern.
That's beautiful. Do you eat those?
No, those are not for eating. Those are for
Those are
emergencies.
decorative
only.
those are
cookies.
decor. Those are like bricks by now. They've probably been up there for a couple years.
Every once in a while, I threaten to eat one, but she says it's not a
If
good
she's
idea.
mean to you, I'm gonna eat your cookies.
No, you would throw off
I'm
the
gonna
feng
shake the
shui.
cookie jar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Guys,
excited. Go ahead, Daryl.
I was gonna say there's breaking news in NASCAR, but what are you excited about? I'm more interested in that.
No, I'm just excited to do this show. Like I don't know why. Either my coffee's kicked in, and we are back together as a group. Landon was a great guest last week. Hopefully everybody enjoyed him on the show. He had some good points. Had some fun talking about him. But you know what? It's just not right without the antagonist, Daryl.
Right.
And it's still not the same. Not you. You're never gonna come back in studio. I think we've all
We've come to terms with
We've come
that.
to terms with. You're just never like going out in public again.
Guys, I want to know, you both have kids right now. So obviously I'm
do.
at my house, not because I don't have a car. I didn't lose my car yet, even though I'm, unemployed.
You've only missed the
Close.
last 3 months' payments.
I'm here because COVID is still roaring. And right now, Lauren, before we started the podcast, was like, I am all about the politics. And I can hear you guys right now saying, it's a NASCAR podcast. Don't talk about politics. But I have to ask the two parents, because I don't have a kid, if your children were school age right now, what would you guys do? Because the big debate in the country is next week and the week after school starts, do you send your kids to school?
Poppy's going to preschool starting in September.
There you have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Corey? If you had a little 6-year-old right now, or what are your friends doing that have kids? It must be a topic, right?
It's a mixed bag. A lot of them, everybody, I think the general consensus is they want them to go back to school. But then you got teachers unions and stuff like that don't want to teach. So you don't have teachers want to teach, then you don't have kids going to school. So I think that there's going to be some smaller groups, like Landon, for example, said that his community is actually starting if you live in this neighborhood, then they're doing a pseudo school at the country club.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. I think you're going to see a lot more of that popping up. You're going to obviously see a lot more homeschooling. So I would say if we had a 6-year-old today, if Levi was 6 and we were to decide on whether to send him to school or not, it would ultimately be what my wife wanted to do. But I would probably say we're going to homeschool him, or Kelly's going to homeschool him. So hopefully, but I just think that even so, I grew up going to I went to a private school in a church till 5th grade, and there's small classes, like 6 or 7 kids in every graduating class. And then when my parents took me out of that and put me in a public school, it was like culture shock, like whoa. And I learned so much more about just life in general, good stuff, and also the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you just I think the school in a public school is like a microcosm of
The world.
The world.
Yeah.
And if you don't get that interaction as a kid, then you're not used to it when you get to be an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So I would certainly I wouldn't err on the side of homeschooling besides whatever health scares going on at that particular time, because I would want Levi to get accustomed to every group of kids that there is to be out there. So I would certainly push him to public school or charter school or whatever's available. That's a tough decision, because it's pretty crazy times right now.
Yeah.
Did I hear you right? Did you say you are going to homeschool them, or you would at the moment?
At the moment.
Okay.
And now a lot of our friends are homeschooling. I think that we'd probably look at private school or charter school. It's hard to say. We actually haven't really dug in, done a whole lot of research on it, because he's only 5 months and we got a little bit of time to think about it and talk about it. But Certainly going to be a pretty important topic on what to do with your kid to educate them, because obviously that's pretty important.
Yeah, I really feel bad for all the parents like who have to work. Like they don't. I am pretty lucky in the sense that I can work from home for the most part and come in and do things when I need to.
Yeah.
But people who are, I don't know, nurses who work at a doctor's office from 9 to 5, what do they do with their kids? I hate that.
It stinks.
Yeah.
Stinks and it sucks and it stinks right now. But,
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. Is I just got back from Georgia, guys.
Right. We saw you
I
out in the
spent the week in
woods.
Georgia, and I have a cough.
Yeah.
Good thing you didn't.
No,
Good thing you're not here.
That's a drywall cough. That's from drywall. I was in Georgia for the week, Lauren, and we were in a cabin down there on the river.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, not a lot of mask wearing going on in Georgia. Actually, like hardly anybody.
Well, where were
Grocery
you?
store.
Were you
We
around
were in,
people?
no, but we had to go to the grocery store, to get
Oh, yeah.
snacks and beer and food. And the only people at the grocery store with masks on besides us were the workers.
Yeah.
Everybody else, no masks. We went to a couple restaurants and got like takeout to go.
Yeah.
No masks anywhere. Georgia's not playing. They're like, we're done. And then that photo came out. Did you see the photo of the high school halls?
Yeah. Was that in
That gave me-
Georgia?
Yeah, that was in Georgia.
Yeah,
what
that
was
sounds
it?
about right. There was just a bunch of kids in a hallway. Like
Shoulder to shoulder.
shoulder
like an
to
exit
shoulder,
of a
like-
NASCAR race.
it was bad. It was pretty bad.
with no mask on.
Yeah, no. And I think there was like 10 COVID cases from that, but those are fine.
And
Those kids are fine. They're all right.
I'm not a
Yeah, but-
scientist. Certainly don't claim to be, but I think part of the protocols and wearing masks is a lot for optics, as much as it helps with the spread of this disease. I think that now we're to the point where if you see somebody without it, you're like,
I
oh
know.
my goodness, you
What
are
are you doing?
Yeah, you
You
are
a
rebel.
sinner.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, my question, Corey, this is a hot take, I think, and I don't want to seem callous, but I think COVID might be the best thing that's ever happened to NASCAR in a way. Do you think some of the changes we've seen would have happened had we not been going through this pandemic?
No, and
I
don't
love
know.
the choose
I don't-
rule. I love the midweek races. I love everything NASCAR's doing right now.
I don't disagree with that. I don't know if I would label it the best thing, quote unquote, to happen to NASCAR. I think that it has allowed NASCAR to be more flexible, or I guess it's pushed NASCAR to be more flexible than they ever have been, just out of necessity, to cater to everybody involved, the network, the racetracks, the race teams, the competitors, the fans even. So, yeah, you wouldn't see the lack of practice, which we've all realized now that practice almost takes away from the show, because the good guys, for example, this weekend at Michigan, the good teams, once they had a race to practice and to figure out their platforms and stuff like that, they were better the second day. Even for our small team, we were able to figure out our heights, and we were exponentially better the second day. I kind of like no practice. Obviously, I think we would need a little bit, but not as much as we had been. So that's a factor that's played in because of COVID. Obviously the fans not being at the racetrack sucks. We want that to be back. So that's been one area that's been a gaping loss for the
Yeah,
sport as of
I
right
agree
now.
with you on that. That's true. Like the minus the fans, I think the changes that have come from NASCAR are more what I meant.
Yeah,
It's not a
yeah.
great thing, obviously, but I
No.
love that they have been forced to think outside the box and make decisions quickly.
Well, and it's showed what works and what doesn't in terms of what people want to watch on TV or when they want to watch it on TV. We've seen that the couple Wednesday night shows everybody was pushing for years now. Oh, we got to have primetime Wednesday night races. Well, we run 2 primetime Wednesday night races, and none of them really moved the needle with TV numbers. It wasn't a whole lot higher. It was a little bit lower, especially with the All-Star race being on a Wednesday. You thought they'd be getting a little bit higher numbers than it did. Then we race on a Thursday night, which people said that we didn't push it very well, and collectively, I don't think the drivers did a great job of telling the story. Hey guys, we're not racing on Sunday, we're racing on Thursday, and we saw that reflect in the TV numbers as well. So okay, obviously our fan base likes to watch races on Sunday afternoon like it has for the last 50 years. So it's allowed NASCAR to kind of throw a line out, see if what bites and what doesn't bite. Some of it's bitten, some of it's not. I think that the racetracks and NASCAR and even the networks, both Fox and NBC, should be applauded because they've had to do a lot of giving and not a whole lot of taking. Because if you think about it, when they signed these broadcast contracts, they were figuring in the extra time for practice, extra broadcast time for qualifying, and now that they have to figure out those areas to make up in the advertising, and they're still paying the same price. So, those guys are doing a lot of giving. Hopefully all the fans are appreciative of that because hopefully it gets back to normal like next year. I think it has to. But right now, I think it's getting along okay. Competition on track seems to be fairly good, seems to me. From my seat, I kind of like it. I think I would rather Harvick win a lot of races than some other guys. So, and we could talk about that here later in the show. But yeah, to your point, Daryl, it's probably not the best thing, but it's allowed NASCAR to see what works and what doesn't work instead of just don't go on status quo.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting. Lauren, have you seen? I mean, you're actually in NASCAR now. For people that don't know, you kind of switched roles. You officially work at NASCAR now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that is that the feeling you get, that there's a lot of creativity going on and a lot of problem solving?
Oh, there's been a lot of problem solving. I mean, forget about even the racetrack aspect of it. The whole company has had to figure out how to work
How to
completely differently than we've ever been used to. The majority of the company working from home and racetracks not having fans come in. I mean, it's been crazy times.
Yeah, it's been pretty interesting to watch.
Clutch Coffee Bar in Mooresville, North Carolina is redefining the drive-thru coffee game in Race City, USA. The Clutch experience is fast, friendly, and delicious. Clutch Coffee Bar offers signature lattes and mochas, custom-flavored infused energy drinks, smoothies, and more. You can also order our signature Clutch coffee beans online and have them shipped directly to you. Go to clutchcoffeebar.com or visit our 2 locations in Mooresville, 356 Williamson Road and 154 West Plaza Drive. Power up today with Clutch Coffee Bar.
And the racing has been great, to Corey's point. Kevin Harvick has just been destroying you guys. I don't even know why you're showing up. I mean, he has been perfect.
Well, somebody's got to try to run 22nd. That's why I show up. Man, they Rodney and Kevin have both hit on something, but you could even argue Denny and Chris Gale, not Chris Gale. Yeah, no, Chris Gabehart. Sorry, this is his crew chief. They have hit on something as well because those guys have been 1-2 now a lot. They were 1-2 at Pocono. They were 1-2 at Michigan. So obviously what those guys have cooking underneath the hood and underneath the rear end of those things are a little bit better than the competition because I don't know if they are that much superior of the drivers in the field right now, but they sure look like it each and every week. Usually when 2 cars or a team is that dominant, it's because they're toeing the gray area a bit. Do I know what they're doing? No, I do not. But those cars are turning, and they're going on the straightaway faster than a lot of the other guys. And the 2 drivers doing a good job, don't get me wrong, but they also have to be riding pretty fast horses to be able to make the moves they are and be up front at the end. So, as you saw on Saturday, Kevin Harvick won in dominating fashion, and then he turns around. So he actually started right in front of me because he won the race. They inverted the top 20. I finished 22nd, so the 4 lined up right in front of me, and it wasn't 2 laps, and I didn't see the 4 for the rest of the day, and he ended up winning. And I finished right where I started, which for our Go Fast team was a pretty solid effort. Because when you go back and look at the fastest laps of the race, on both days, we had the 29th fastest lap time. So we didn't have a whole lot of blazing speed in our Schluter scheme on Saturday than our vote scheme on Sunday, but we were able to finish 7 spots better than what we were in for the whole race. So, I mean, I think anytime you could finish, especially 7 spots better than what the speed of your car is, seems like everybody executed. We didn't have any problems, fuel cell issues, thank God Almighty. The fuel pump worked all day long, and we had no damage. We had a little bit of left rear damage from the guy got into us on Saturday. The team beat it out, and raced on Sunday, came home with 2 solid effort.
I don't like these double headers where the same person is winning on both days.
Well, it just makes sense, right?
It does.
When you're at a place where you hold it wide open 95% of the time, the guy with the fastest car
Is going to
on
win.
Saturday is probably going to be in the running for Sunday if
I
something
know.
doesn't happen.
I don't
And
like that.
And the guy with the second fastest car is probably going to be close to the front relative to the guy in the front with the fastest car too. And you saw that with Pocono. I mean,
Right.
it's not like if we did a doubleheader we're doing doubleheader, Dryden
Dover.
400 weekend, the Dryden double at Dover. I'm going to go on a limb and say you're not going to see the same guy win twice. I'm thinking with my heart here on this one. I think Jimmy Johnson's going to get in victory lane.
Mm.
He only has 11 miles, the monster trophies. So I would love to see that 48 back in victory lane, make the chase one final time. Everybody wants to see it. I don't care if you like Jimmy Johnson or you don't. Jimmy Johnson should be in the damn playoffs in his last year.
Are
So
there
I'm
people
gonna
that
go
don't
out-
like? Are there people that don't like Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah, those people are not right in the head if they don't like Jimmy Johnson.
Who doesn't
those are
like
people
Jimmy
like Kyle
Johnson?
Busch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, those people are not right in the head.
Well, I rest my case.
I don't think it's possible to not like Jimmy Johnson, but I'm with you. Except that Chevrolet, I was going to ask you, it was on one of my notes. Chevrolet's been having problems, man.
You make
I
notes,
feel like,
Daryl?
well, I wrote notes for today. I have 2 questions. Do you want to know my 2 questions for the show?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Is there any truth to the rumor that you're going to go to the 37 car?
No, I haven't talked to those guys over there.
So that's completely false.
I saw people tagging me on Twitter on that, but I haven't talked to anybody over there. Now, I mean,
And
I
also-
don't think that it's like not,
Out of the
not
realm of possibility?
out of the realm of possibility. I mean, I don't think it's hard to hide the fact that the 37's had a tough year for sure. And it's been a couple spots behind the 47 almost consistently. So, those guys might be looking to make a change. I don't know, but I haven't talked to anybody over there. I've really just been trying to concentrate and try to get the best result for our team every week. And there's bigger dominoes that have to fall in front of me. As we saw, there's a lot of free agency talk with Bubba the last couple of weeks. After Bubba run 9th on Saturday, he hinted in his post-race interview that he had a big deal working, right? And he was hoping that this big deal, quote-unquote, was going to hit. Now, that could be a big deal through Petty's signing a sponsor, or it could mean a big deal that a sponsor is going to sign with Bubba specifically. Then Bubba can take that sponsor to whatever options he has, which we already saw that this week it was announced or released that, or confirmed that Chip Ganassi offered him the 42 car. So that's an interesting take that he has that option. Now, I'd imagine also that if this quote-unquote big deal that he has, if it is a sponsor connected directly to Bubba, he would certainly be looking at the 48 car. I mean, it's not a too far of a reach. I mean, if
Bubba to the
If
48.
he's got big money.
Breaking news.
you got some coin, I mean, hey, like that, Rick's probably funding for a car and a half over there. I'm sure he would look very seriously if Bubba, who has run right around the 48 car the last 5 or 6 weeks, like, does he have 7 championships? No, but right now, Bubba's done a really good job in that 43 car, racing around the 48. So anytime you look around where the 48 is on the board, the 43 is relatively close to him. So it's like, okay, well, Bubba's driving that car pretty well. Why not take the chance? He's the media darling right now. And if he's got a big partner in his pocket, then it could make a lot of things jive. But
When we talked last week, who is the shining star to go to the 48 anyways? I think we said that there's not really any like super big names that.
well, Erik Jones,
Mm-hmm.
Gibbs told him, hey man, thanks for the 4 years of service. We're not going to be needing you back.
Right.
Obviously, Chris Bell was the next up in line. They've already confirmed that. Chris Bell to the 20 next year. On paper, Chris Bell and Erik Jones are relatively the same driver.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
In person, Erik Jones and Chris Bell are basically the same driver.
yeah, I mean,
Super fun.
there's no denying Chris Bell's talent. There's no denying Erik Jones' talent. He's obviously a good race car driver. But driving here today, I was kind of looking because you can make a case, and there's been some people in the media making cases that Erik Jones could be a Joey Logano situation 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Logano ran 3 years at Gibbs. They more or less gave up on him, right? He had Greg Zipadelli. He followed Tony Stewart's shoes. It was the transition of the Gen 6 car to the Gen 5 car to the Gen 6 car. You know, there was some, I know from Joey's point of view, I don't know from the other side because I've talked to Joey about it several times. You know, there was a lot of this is what Tony Stewart raced with and won with. You just hop in and go, right? And there wasn't a lot of give and take or allowing Joey to learn. And I went back to 2010, 11, 12 and saw how close Joey was relative to his teammates Denny, Kyle Busch, and whoever else was over there at that point in time. He was a spot, maybe half a spot to 2 spots off of whoever the average finish was the highest at Gibbs that particular year. Kyle Busch was somewhere between 14. Joey was 15. Denny Ham was 14 and a half. Joey was 14 and a half. Like, he was comparable with their drivers in the stable at that point in time. Fast forward, I just happened to pull up Erik Jones's average finish over the last 4 years compared to his teammates. And he's been consistently 4.5 to 6 spots behind the best guy in that camp. So now, average finished, looking at that specifically, he's not taking into account parts failures and like that's an umbrella way to look at it for sure. But it's an easy way to show, okay, this guy holding up his end of the bargain compared to the guys he's in the same stuff with, right? You can't compare Daniel Suarez's stats from 2020 to his stats in 2019 because they're 12 spots different because he was driving a Stewart-Haas car versus the car he's in now.
Right.
There's like Daniel Suarez didn't learn how to be a worse race car driver overnight. Now he's 12 spots worse from what he was last year. He didn't learn to suck overnight. So that's what I'm saying is you have to grade people on a curve. You can't grade people compared to their competition. You have to grade people on internally who their teammates are. And are they holding their own weight? And this is probably not fair to say, but Gibbs drivers over the last 4 years have been pretty dominant. I think that's fair to say. They've won somewhere between 38 and 40 races. Denny winning a lot, Kyle Busch winning a lot, Martin Truex winning a lot. Eric's won 2, Daytona and the Southern 500, which you can't take that away from him. That's a badass win. But when your other teammates have won a heck of a lot more than that, you got to expect, if you're the 4th car in a 4-car lineup consistently, you got to expect the change coming. You got to expect that seat getting a little hotter. So, in my point of view, I don't think it's going to be a Joey Logano 2.0 scenario. I just don't. Because I don't think a team has been as dominant as Gibbs the last 3 or 4 years, and he's been consistently the 4th car, where in Joey's case, Gibbs wasn't as dominant, and he wasn't the last car in the lineup over there each and every week. So that's my case. You know, I'm probably a little biased because I race with him every week. I'm probably trying to get in the same rides as he is, but you look at it on paper, he's a good race car driver, but compared to the guys he was racing with, which you can make a case, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin are top 15 drivers of all time. So that's a hard class to stack up with.
Right.
I don't want to take anything away from him, but you kind of know where that ceiling's at personally. But that's my take. Doesn't have to be anybody else's take. That's my take. Because I'm sure that if I was in Erik Jones's shoes, my old man would make it well known to me that I would be the guy not holding up my end of the bargain for sure. Because you can't be the last car each and every week and tear your race car up a lot of the times and not expect them to make a change. And that's where they're at.
Maybe we should take a break.
No, I want to hear Daryl's opinion.
Well, I just wanted you to, for maybe some people, not everybody's all up to date with everything that happened. If you want to just give them a quick headline, because it's what you're talking about. The 95 team Christopher Bell, where he's
Oh,
going,
yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
Just kind
So,
of, so people understand what you're talking about.
yeah. So it kind of forced Toyota's hand. So Toyota has this very reputable and well-known driver development program, right? They take these guys from dirt or wherever they are. They pick their certain guys and they develop them. They get them with Keith Coons and a midget. They put them with some good Super Late Model guys. They put them in an Xfinity or a K&N deal, or ARCA deal, and then develop them up the ladder, right? And the Toyota funnel at the I guess at the top or the bottom, whichever way you wanted to call it the top. It funnels down to only 4 seats at Gibbs, because that's the only 4 seats that Toyota really backs. And then the last 2 years, it's been an alliance with LFR. So it made it 5, right? And Matt DiBenedetto was in it the year before. Then Toyota had an extra seat, I guess you could say, and they put Chris Bell in it because they have millions of dollars wrapped up in Chris Bell from developing it in trucks, develop him in Xfinity, and naturally the progression for him is a Toyota car in the Cup Series. And when LFR sold their charter, which they announced a couple weeks ago, or I guess last week, and it's been on the market for you've been hearing rumors they were selling for the last couple months. They finally pulled the trigger, got a buyer, which rumor was it was Spire, and then it was confirmed a little bit ago that it was Spire. So now they own 2 charters, which is interesting. We could talk about that here later. But then essentially, everybody knows that Spire's not going to pay millions and millions and millions of dollars for a JGR alliance. So that shrinks Toyota's Cup field from 5 to back to 4. And they're in a position either lose Chris Bell or lose Erik Jones. That was the decision Toyota had to make. And they looked at it, and they felt like they gave Erik Jones a legitimate chance to show his means of staying within the program.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw the value in Chris Bell at this point in time more than Erik Jones, because they probably had as much money wrapped up in Chris Bell as they have in Erik Jones, and they had to pick one or the other, and they picked Chris Bell. So, they wished Erik well, and they put him in every position possible, and he made the most of it in trucks, made the most of it in Xfinity, and did well in Cup, and I didn't get it done, I guess. I don't know. And that's what they thought. I mean, they chose one or the other, and they chose Chris Bell.
Do you see maybe a possible seat swap?
Where?
Erik Jones going to Spire?
No. Erik, his perception in the media and in the garage is still high. They think he's a good race car driver. He's won. There's no slouches that win Cup races, really. More than one Speedway Cup race. Not picking on anybody that's won a Speedway Cup race. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to win one. But if you win the Southern 500, that's pretty reputable. And that's a feather in the old cap for sure. So there's going to be teams.
Where's he going to go? I mean,
well, the car that you brought up earlier, that would certainly be an option. I'm sure they would pursue him to look at that, because to pair with somebody like Ricky Stenhouse, and Erik Jones adds value to a roster or a driver lineup. So, I don't know. I mean, there's certainly some places that that have some guys on 1-year deals. Stuart Haas is.
Lauren, it's getting exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm excited to see where everyone ends up.
Corey is in direct competition with Erik Jones, right, for rides. Mm-hmm. There's no saying that one or two things Ricky Stenhouse could see all this success that Kyle Larson is having and be like, that's it, I'm going back to dirt racing.
No, he won't do that.
Or Kyle Larson could come back, and now we need another seat for him.
Yeah.
It could be a pretty crazy offseason. And then, of course, that 48 car is open. So if Bubba goes there, who ends up at Richard Petty? Maybe Corey LaJoie. I can't tell he's smiling. Is he smiling?
No.
Would you go drive for the King?
Well, technically, I've driven for him in the past.
Before.
Yeah, I was on.
No, but would that be like a good 2021 for you?
Yeah, it would. I mean, who wouldn't want to drive for Richard Petty? You romanticize it over in some case, because at the end of the day, the guy's Richard Petty. Granted, he doesn't own the majority of the team, right? We've seen that. We know Andy Murstein, guy from New York, owns the majority of the team, and they give some percentage stake to Bubba. But at the end of the day, the cat in the hat, I guess that's Jack Roush, but the guy wears the cowboy hat.
With the raccoon penises on it.
With the raccoon penises on it. Like, that guy still carries some clout, and that guy's one of the most recognizable figures, not in just NASCAR, in the sporting world in general. So,
Right.
If opportunity present itself, if Bubba left, would I probably have the conversation? Yeah, why not?
Have
right?
you had a conversation?
No, because technically, Bubba's still driving for him.
I think
Lauren,
Bubba's like the neck. He's got to figure out where he's going, and then that's going to open up a lot of other stuff for everyone else.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Brad was the first domino to fall.
Right.
And like I said, he re-signed. I never, for an inkling, thought that he was going to the 48, going anywhere else. Was I right?
You was right.
I was right. I also said, I don't know if I said it on the podcast or not, but I was fairly certain that they weren't going to sign Erik Jones. Because I thought that looking back last year, they had a hard enough time negotiating. It took way longer than it should have if both parties were on the same page last year. So the writing was on the wall for this year, and if he didn't have a 17.5 average finish this year compared to his teammates 8 and 9, he probably would be back in that race car, but he's not. Who else we got? Who else was a free agent?
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. Is Matt Kenseth signed on for 2 years or 1 year?
I don't think Matt Kenseth is having a lot of fun right now.
Mm-mm.
Was that a 1 year deal though?
I think it was just
so.
like the rest of this year type thing.
I think it was, hey Matt, you wanna
Help us.
just help us a little bit, and you wanna hang the road bike up for a couple days on the weekends, and instead of ride your road bike or go for a 40-mile run on Sundays, how about you just drive a race car around, make some money? And Matt's like, I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. That's the deal that Matt's on, I believe. I don't think that Matt, he's been vocal about not liking this particular package to drive. And I'm sure that when the 32 passed him about 4 times last Sunday, he probably was second guessing why he was doing it too. Because when his entire team, Chip Ganassi's racing's not used to getting passed by the 32 car. It's just not usually supposed to happen. But we had a decent car on Sunday, and we were racing around guys like him, and he cut me some slack one time. Actually, I tried to slide him off turn 2, and he could have hooked me in the fence, but Matt was nice to me. He gave me a little bit of room, and we were able to continue. He ended up taking tires at the end and driving to the front, but I don't foresee Matt going back to the 42 car next year. I don't know who's going in it. Obviously, it's been confirmed that Bubba has an offer to go there. Will he take it? Don't know. Depends how much money he's got in his hand. If he signed that big deal or whatever that big deal was, I would imagine that it was a sponsor signed directly to Bubba Wallace. So we'll see. A lot of stuff still moving, shaking. Interesting times. But there's also the whole next gen car, lame duck year that's next year. Everybody has to run the same equipment. All the parts that have already been submitted from March is what you have to run from March 2020 all the way through November 21. So you're going to have the dynamic of some teams trying to run lean because they're trying to stockpile some cash to buy the next-gen cars and equipment and stuff like that. So you're going to see that factor into what turns out competitively for some teams that might be bigger teams with a lot of overhead, might be trying to figure out ways to cut costs to essentially buy $4 million worth of equipment for 22. So that's also another variable to the conversation that makes it a little bit more interesting this year than most.
That's a lot to ponder on. Let's take a commercial break and come back with Sunday Money.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the Tire Tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
And we're back. That was a lot of good stuff there. But first, Sunday Riley. I'm sitting here reading Sunday O'Reilly. Before you do anything, you should thank O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
It is so nice of O'Reilly to sponsor this show.
I know.
And also Hercules Tires.
We still got it. I have to ask Alexa to get that. Whoever from O'Reilly's, if they listen to the show, we need to get O'Reilly's on a race car because, like I said, I keep saying, you got Napa on Chase's car. You got Advanced Auto Parts on Ryan's car.
Boo.
I can be the O'Reilly guy. Sign me up.
It's
You got to
Corey's
be able
big
to sing
deal.
the jingle, Corey.
This is my big deal. Got some big stuff in the works. O'Reilly's call me.
Speaking of paint schemes, I saw something on Instagram, I think it was this weekend, where you were pulling off the vinyl from the Schluter car.
Yeah.
And then your other paint scheme was just right underneath that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was crazy. Obviously, I figured that you guys that would be like the main car, but I don't know. I guess I thought that you would have to completely rewrap the car.
Yeah, so people that don't really know how paint schemes work anymore, I think the only cars that are really painted are the Hendrick cars because they have the Axalta partnership. Everybody else are wrapped with vinyl, like colored printed vinyl. So when the doubleheader weekends go on, some cars, like some teams like ours, we had two separate sponsors. We had Schluter for one, then we had the Vote scheme for the other. So we would wrap it. So they would wrap it, the red, white, and blue scheme first, like it was going to the track.
Trump,
And
Corey.
then-
Trump scheme.
With the Trump scheme.
The Trump scheme.
With the Ford, the headlights, my name over the door, every single sticker on it like it's going to the racetrack ready to race. And then you take the Schluter wrap and then you put it right over it. Like you can actually line up the exact, like you can't even tell that there's stickers on it because they overlap essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So right after, and they actually wax the scheme and then they wrap over it so it peels off easy. So it is pretty cool that the vinyl technology's come a long way the last couple of years where you can race one.
Right.
And then it gets rock blasted and it's got rubber all over it. And then you literally peel it off and it's a brand new scheme.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Does
We were
that
lucky
add
enough
any
not to-
weight to the car, Corey?
It does. A wrap is about 8 pounds, 8 to 9 pounds. And it makes it a little bit thicker, so that might be why the car went through the wind a little bit better on Sunday because it was a little bit thicker, a little lighter.
That's interesting. Look at that, Lauren. A little arrow news.
They didn't
Yeah.
let Corey eat for 5 days leading up. He needed to lose 8 pounds.
Yeah,
So then
on
they
Saturday. I could get it back on Sunday.
Yeah.
And the car was about, I don't know, 30,000 thinner on one side and 30,000 thinner on the other side and shaped like a bullet for Sunday.
That's awesome. Well, we should also pick our clutch coffee performer because, we don't really even have to vote on this one, right?
I think
I mean,
it's
it's pretty
pretty
obvious.
obvious. Jinx.
Jinx, you owe me a clutch coffee.
Kevin Harvick has to be our clutch performer of the week, Corey. I think that
Yeah.
there's no way around it. Perfect performances, domination. This guy is killing it right now. So, Lauren, I don't have that part though.
Corey has it.
Oh, I do. So
Go ahead, Corey.
the clutch performer of the week is Mr. Kevin Harvick
Kevin Harvick. Well,
for his astounding double Michigan win. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the Heritage Trophy remains in Dearborn,
in the
Michigan.
Ford camp.
In the Ford camp. I was confused a little bit what they were going to do if a Ford won one day and a
Right.
Toyota won the next day. But good thing we didn't have to figure that out
Yeah.
because Kevin Harvick picked up the slack for all of us. So Kevin Harvick is the Clutch Coffee Performer of the Week. The Clutch Performer of the Week is brought to you by Clutch Coffee Bar in Mooresville, North Carolina. You can order Clutch Coffee beans online and have them shipped directly to you. Go to clutchcoffeebar.com.
Nicely done, Corey.
Thank you, sir. I mean, you do an excellent job with that read, but I got to pick up the slack this week. Now, are you ever going to come back in the studio or just no?
No. I'm going to live here forever. Lauren, I had some friends on a road trip. My friend Nick, he listens to the show, and he said, how come you guys, he called and he wanted to know, they worked their way all the way from the first podcast all the way through. So like he'll keep calling me and telling me, oh, this is the episode we're on. And he wants to know why we stopped talking about where Lauren's eating. He said that him and his girlfriend really liked the part.
We had to quarantine, Daryl.
I know, but you're
can't
still
go out to eat anymore.
Yeah, but you're cooking. I'm sure you're making some horrible meals. And he said him and his girlfriend love hearing about Lauren's eating habits. What is Lauren eating? I said, I will ask her, Nick. So Nick, if you're listening, Lauren is going to tell you what her and Andrew have been putting in their mouths.
When's the last time you had Olive Garden?
Actually, I went to Olive Garden last week.
See? What are you talking about?
That is the first time I've been to Olive Garden in like 6 months.
Dang.
Yeah, we haven't gone out to eat. Andrew was yelling at me last week about my spending habits, and he was like, if we're going to do this, then we can't be going out to eat anymore. I'm like, Andrew, we've been quarantined for 6 months. We haven't gone out to eat more than a handful of times. Whatever.
How good those breadsticks taste.
So good.
Although,
you know what sucks is restaurants don't put salt and pepper on the table anymore. How rude, because I like to really salt those breadsticks up.
They're already salted.
I'm going to start carrying my own salt in my purse, I think.
You should.
Lauren, you also went to a restaurant this weekend with your baby. You took your baby to a bar.
I took my baby to a bar. It was kind of an accident. It was my friend. That's what happens when you go out to eat with friends who don't have kids. Yeah. They don't think whenever they're choosing where to eat, oh, this isn't going to be a great place to go, you know? So we had to push the stroller up to the thing. Poppy pulled my Diet Coke over on my lap. It spilled all over the floor. It was a lot of fun.
If I have a restaurant, no kids allowed.
It's a different way of thinking when you got kids on like where you got to go, the window of time you have to get there and get back. Like,
Forced they turn into a psychopath.
Is it inside? Is there going to be a wait? Yeah, it's very timed. It's a timed event.
Yeah, that's why grandparents are great, and we can just drop them off with Mimi and Pops or Grammy and Gramps, depending on who's in town.
Quarantine's not slowing either of you down, Lauren. Corey also was out to eat in his Ryan Blaney hat, and he was at a restaurant as well. Where are you guys going? Where are you finding all these great places?
Well, that's actually one of our favorite restaurants. We went down Saturday night to an Italian place called Stagione's.
I don't think it was Saturday. I think you were racing Saturday night.
We were. It was Friday night. Yep. Yep. We were in Michigan Saturday. Yeah, it's one of our favorite restaurants downtown, Stagione's. I think I've said it on the show before. It's so good.
But it's not downtown, is it?
Yeah, it's downtown.
Kind of.
It's like off Providence.
Yeah, isn't that like South Park?
Downtown adjacent.
No, not quite. It's out of downtown. It's not downtown because there's.
Did you take the baby to this very nice Italian restaurant? By the way.
Yeah, I mean, I put as you said, my Ryan Blaney hat on. It was the hat that I stole from somebody at Casey's wedding, and I just wore it, and I liked it. I looked like the guy from Florida Georgia Line. Got some compliments on it, so now I just wear it out and about. I ordered another hat like that.
That's his new thing.
I'm gonna give that one back because I stole it, so I'm gonna give that one back to him. But I ordered my own from the company who makes Cam Newton's hat.
Look at that.
We thought
guys.
Cam Newton left and moved to.
Somebody's gotta keep the hat swag going in Charlotte.
It could be your thing.
Don't worry, Cam. I got you.
Corey, has the online hate calmed down for you? I know you were taking a lot of heat, and I feel like you've been tweeting a little more.
I have been tweeting a little more. I got to do some sponsor obligations of sorts. You got to kind of tweet your post-race stuff and tag them and to check that box. But people still feel a certain way about it, and I don't even care anymore. Like, it is what it is. They've helped our team out quite a bit with the money flowing in. We were able to get some new parts and pieces and
a new fuel pump.
We got some new fuel pumps this week, and they worked both races. Imagine that. And, I posted on Twitter, it's like P22 something, right, with a GIF of the President of the United States. It's not like some guy that is just a guy. Like, the guy in my car is the President of the United States, so he should be respected in some form or fashion. Just like 2 thumbs up. Like, one P22 finish is 1 thumbs up, the other one's another thumbs up. And people just go irate over, like, there's no context behind it. No, nothing. It's just a gif of the president of the free world, and people lose their minds. But if that's what is their barometer on if they like me as a person or not, then
So be it.
so be it. I mean, I would tell them what to go do with where to go do it, but this is a kids show. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, my job is a race car driver, and the team's job is to put companies on that car that pay for that race car to go around, and that's where we're at.
Zoom, zoom. And now, so like, the season is a little bizarre, obviously. We're headed to, Dover next, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're going to the
to Daytona.
road course with no
the
practice,
Daytona.
dog.
Sorry,
Oh, boy.
Daytona. See, I'm stuck in the house, guys. I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah.
I gotta find out through letters. People
I
send
love
me
the-
correspondence.
I love the somebody asked Kevin Harvick after he won, like, oh man, are you excited to leave the field in turn 1 at the Daytona road course next week? And he's like, I'm not the right guy to follow, because I don't know where the hell I'm going. Which is neither do about 37 of the 40 guys rifling that thing off in turn 1 the first lap of the Daytona road course. No practice.
No
It's
practice.
a racetrack that only probably 5 guys have raced on.
Do you know who? I'm trying to think of who.
So there was IROC race there, maybe 08. I don't know the year, because I just happened to be watching the other day. Martin Truex was the champion in
Okay.
the Busch Series, so he was in it. I think maybe Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, maybe.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson's run the 24 hours. Kyle Busch ran the 24 hours this past year, so he's got the latest amount of experience on it. McDowell's been on there with a GP car. Beyond that,
So a couple.
a handful.
Yeah.
A small handful have been on it, but it's still different because the cars are all different than what anybody else has driven on it,
Mhm.
right? So it's the 750 horsepower package, but with high downforce. So it's a unique downforce package than what we've had on all the road courses this year, because they were worried about top speed being too high. So they added a chicane at the NASCAR turn 4 that's going to be hairy. That's really hard to hit by yourself, let alone with guys behind you that you're racing around, because the racing groove is going to be coming out of turn 4 of the big track is going to be high, right? So then you're going to be turning it down the banking where you have to be on the brakes way earlier than you expect to be on the brakes, and it funnels down from about 6 cars wide to 1 car. And if somebody's in the racing groove on the right side of the track, it's going to leave a big open space for somebody to jam it in there and cause a big wreck. So you're going to see, without a doubt, some pileups in that NASCAR chicane, they're calling it, out of turn 4 of the big track, because it funnels down to nothing, and it's a first gear slow right-hander.
No practice.
0 practice, literally, because we're going to be going full speed first lap, and you're going to be rifling it down to that chicane, which will be the fastest part of the track besides the bus stop down the backstretch. And then the element of rain. We saw rain in Road America this weekend, which made that Xfinity race awesome to watch. Guys slipping, sliding all over the place. Austin Cindric probably has the most road course experience, had experience on rain tires before, won the race. He's been on a roll as of late. But if it rains and we have to put rain tires on these Cup cars, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I don't. Now, if it's anything like when it rains at GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, and you hop on the go-karts and get after it, I'm going to be really good, because I smoke it in a go-kart in the rain.
I'm sure it'll
Mooresville.
be just like that.
I'm going to make some calls this week to see how relative it is. But if it's anything like it and people listen to the show, if they've been out there with me in the rain before, no, I don't play out there in the rain. If it rains, Big Daddy's getting after it. So maybe I will tighten the belts and get after it a little more. If the rain starts raining, I'm going to pull Ayrton Senna at Monaco out on these guys and drive to the lead. You never know.
Corey,
Wow.
I ran into the barrels at GoPro in the rain.
What did you say, Daryl?
I hit the barrels at the GoPro in the
Oh,
rain,
boy.
like head on.
Well, and we have
It's
we have
really
hit
hard
the
to do it.
we have hit the metaphorical barrels of scheduling today at MRN Studio. We got some people coming behind us, so we unfortunately have to call all of this off, and we will keep up this pent-up energy for next week. Thanks for tuning in to another version of Sunday Money. Daryl, thank you for joining us in your basement again.
Thanks to our great sponsors, O'Reilly and Hercules Tires. And thanks to Alexa. I think you guys probably miss seeing Alexa on our Zoom podcast, but she's still here.
Maybe she
just yelling at us to stop talking.
Maybe she can just put her face up real quick, like, oop, there she is.
Hey.
And,
thanks, Alexa.
Yeah. Y'all have a good week.
All right, guys. Have fun.
Bye,
Be
Daryl.
careful.
Leave a review, 5 stars.